confidence is where a lot of the speed comes in. Oh my goodness! Saves it! How in the world?
It comes from very far back, but was able to get the car slowed up.
And he knew. Look at how early he positioned himself. I would not have been that confident. That is amazing. What a save from Warren. And there, yeah, that is brave stuff. Rint doesn't usually offer up a chance to pass. And then Warren, who was eager to try and retake it, looked like I thought he was going to get a great run on the front stretch, just goosed it too hard.
Oh, and their teammates apparently, from what I've been told. So yeah, rule number 1: never hit your teammate. And let's take a look at what happened. So that's Karjalainen going around the outside of the S's, getting the car to roll through. He's got the inside for the corner, a little bit of a slide. And I don't know about you, DJ, but that's gonna be a racing incident, I think, 50-50.
Olton is a very, very narrow circuit. You're not able to get as clear as you think, as we got a little bit of side-by-side talk about aggressive moves from a Jordan Svetnov.
Jordan Svetnov's not done, though, here, because Steven Orr was trying to get back underneath.
We're still side by side with Sanchez, though. He's given it another go. Did he learn lessons from last time? This time he cuts back a lot earlier. Will that help him out as he goes for the back and forth once again? But this time, Walker is the one who has gotten wise from that one. He covers off, clear around the outside, though. Holy cow! Sanchez learned his own little trick, and that's the one that gets him the spot.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally? Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings, where they go into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me.
Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
This is one of the fastest runs these drivers will have all season long. Undulating up and down the Canadian countryside, racing around a place named after legends like Sterling Moss and Mario Andretti, this is Mosport, the roller coaster of a track that will push drivers in round 10 of the Camel GT series today to their absolute limits on the global SimRacing channel. Good afternoon, race fans. I'm Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes, our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. It's not often, though, that a circuit remains unchanged for 61 years, but Mosport has that distinction. Let's take you around the place today with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or as most fans know it, Mosport. This circuit to the northeast of Toronto is a rarity in the world of racing today. Safety standards and the desire for more overtaking opportunities has caused most tracks to alter their layouts over the years. But Mosport is still exactly the same footprint as it was when it was built in 1961. A mere 11 turns, most of which are high-speed sweepers, are dispersed among 2.5 miles, or just shy of 4 kilometers. The only alterations to the turns have been to the runoff areas, but otherwise the radii, camber, and elevation changes are all untouched. Because cars have continued to get faster through the passage of time, it's made this place a fearsome beast to tackle. Clayton Corner is particularly notorious. The blind crest and steep plunge combined with incredibly high speeds to create a punishing combination. Without many heavy braking zones, passing is often difficult. And other than using the slipstream up the Mario Andretti straight, the only other option is usually Moss Corner. This double apex hairpin is named after Sir Sterling Moss for his suggestion to redesign it after he saw its initial layout. While the plateau-like middle portion and critical exit onto the backstretch certainly give it plenty of character, the heavy compression at the bottom of the hill that causes a frighteningly short braking zone makes this one not for the faint of heart. Formula One, USAC, and IMSA have all taken their turns here, but recently NASCAR has joined the fray by holding a round for the Truck Series. Old school fans can rejoice for the enduring popularity of this bastion of untouched tarmac, but any motorsports enthusiast can't help but smile at the thrill Mosport continues to provide.
That's just a little look at a historic piece of amazing racing, and it's only going to continue here today. But when it comes to this track, Craig, this is a place where you look around and it does have that old school feel. There's not much margin for error. There's no runoff, and there are some very heavy undulation changes. What are the pitfalls today around this Canadian Tire Motorsport Park?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Like you said, but with high speed, elevation changes, sub 90-second lap. Actually, let's call it sub 80-second laps. Mosport, a full track for one word: momentum. Lars Olsen called this one of the most fun tracks in the GTP with a caveat: turn 2. There's a debate for these prototypes. Do they go lower downforce? There's only a few braking zones here, as it is one of those old school tracks that Jake was on about. But you still, no matter what you use, you've got to be careful with those throttle inputs. Momentum, keep the speed up. Too much throttle, you spin up the back tires, you lose control. GTOs don't have that much of an issue. They've got four-wheel drive, but they've also got to fight the understeer around this track because of undulating changes. Expect challenges at Clayton Corner, turn 2, Moss Corner, turn 5. And of course, you come out of Moss Corner, that double apex corner sets you up for the Mario Andretti straight. That will contain one of the only overtaking spots on this track. Traffic, of course, crucial. Clayton Corner, you've got so many different lines that go around lap traffic there. You're going to win and lose track position there. Talking about multiclass, 10 to 15 seconds is the gap between both classes when it comes to laps. That is a big difference on something so small. These GTPs are almost doing a 60-second lap.
They almost are, and it's going to show the difference when that will be an average of a lap car every 6 laps to try and deal with. But let's talk championships at the moment, and let's start with the GTP. Your prototypes, of course, the classic Nissan Xavier Sanchez Heike 360 ES, one of the biggest Twitch streamers in the Spanish-speaking world. He's on top, 142 points, and it's not a large gap by any stretch of the imagination. Aitor Sintes Galindo, 27 points back. And with 2 retirements in his race so far, or his season so far, with the 2 drop rounds in this championship, he has a really good chance of clawing points back. Joseph Mudarak is currently 3rd overall. He also has a chance because he's got 1 missing round in the championship so far this season. And Fabian Youngbluth, I would say, is also in that mix. Not so much Lars Olsen in 5th position. His drops don't look as inciting as most. Diego Mastretta currently is in 6th position. A great scrap between Seamus Power and Hervé Trengarade makes up 7th and 8th, with Gianluca Gabbiani in 9th and Pablo Suarez rounding out the top 10. It seems that he has done pretty much every race in iRacing at some point in time. Craig, you've been keeping an eye on what's been going on in a very close GTO championship.
Yeah, you've taken the words away from me. Look at that gap between Lescala and Javier Del Olmo. 4 points between the two of them. But the key thing is the tiebreaker, 4 wins to 3 to Lescala. But Del Olmo also has 2 retirements this season. And with tracks coming up like this, he can't afford another retirement. Ian Haycox, Robert Plumley, they're outside shots at the moment, 132, 125. They still got a chance, like I said. Different tracks are going to be holding up for them. And you just look down that order as well. Reed Miller down in 8th, losing 2 places in the championship. Andreas Schuster in 6th, making up 3 places. And Mika Tupoa just getting back in the top 10 there. The bottom of the top 10 is still competitive. The top of the top 10, always competitive. You can never guess who's going to win the GTO championship. You still can't. We've still got what? A quarter of the season to go.
We certainly do have a quarter of a season to go, and that is going to be the final 3 races, the final 3 important races. Let's talk about what they have to go through here today. It's race 10 of 12, which means that they have a 40-minute race, as is tradition. It's a completely open setup, so everyone's got an opportunity to understand, okay, this is how the car works, this is how the car doesn't work. Best setup's going to certainly help you along your way. There are no spare cars, though. This is raced on an iRacing official race, which means that spare cars are not a part of the play. Drive-through penalty comes through at 17 instant points, and if you go over that and hit 25, that's it. Your race is done. They'll tell you to park the car. That's how quickly it goes through. Have been keeping a good close eye on qualifying out here so far. They get 8 minutes to sort that out, all 2 laps. And there are 2 very big names in your GTP field that are not in session that are when they signed up. First one is Anti Lepisto. It's nice to see him around, but he's not in. The second one here, Craig, is the championship leader, Xavier Sanchez. Yeah,
not sure where Javier is. I haven't checked his stream or anything like that, because usually he is streaming this for his fans. Not entirely sure what's happening to those 2. Hopefully we'll see them about, but it may have been a case of still in other events. But of course, at the top of this GTP, Aitor Sintes Galindo is pole, just 200ths ahead of Laus Olsen. And then Ove Plengelade, yes, that is how close he is to Aitor. But he is just under a 10th behind Laus Olsen. Very close. And then look down closer. Seamus Power, 400ths away from Martin Kleitrick. And Fabian Youngblood, 8,000ths away from him. So close in the GTPs, and the GTOs at the moment, just as close, because I think I see 2 guys with the same time.
Yeah, and it just shows you just how quick they are. We just took a look at Nico Simmons coming over the line and setting a time. This is Andre Schumacher in the number 41. He's not going to get enough time to set another lap, so qualifying is done for everybody here at Mosport, and we can run ourselves then through the starting grids then for today's action, and we will start ourselves off then with Nissan GTPs up at the very top overall, because it will be Aitor Sintes Galindo who will be on that pole position of 103.197, will have Laus Olsen for company on the front row. Hervé Trengarade will start in 3rd with Martin Kreischrick in 4th. Seamus Power will start from 5th position, along with Fabian Youngbluth in 6th place. Joseph Mudrack's a little bit down the order, starting in 7th with Gianluca Gabbiani in 8th. Tobias Ruchner makes 9th position, with Pablo Suarez rounding out the top 10. Over the page then into 11th, it will be George Golovanov who will be starting in 11th, with Daniel Steinman in 12th position. Then you got Brendan Lim and Roman Bello on row 7. Row 8 will have Michael Spurn and Robert Obrota in 16th. Cam Porter will start 17th. If he takes the grid, Anti Lepisto, Xavier Sanchez is back in session, so he'll have to go from 19th on the grid, with Jason Clapper, with Kurt Clapper as well in not the best position, Tim Phillips and Christian Arabas rounding out then the 23 cars. Craig has GTO.
Yeah. You just see Joko Leskala will be taking the pole with Andreas Schuster, but on beside him in P2. Javier Olmo will be behind the championship rival Leskala. He starts 3rd. And then Ian Haycock, yes, they had basically the exact same time. He'll be beside De Olmo. Reed Miller will be 5th. And Hideki Kobivisto will take home 6th. Mark Ole will be 7th, and Robert Plumley beside him in 8th. Jamie Hamill-Smith takes 9th, and Mika Tupola will be 10th as we go down the order. Doug Cloud will be the next one on the page as he takes 11th. Baron Grau will be 12th. Andre Schumacher, we just saw here, will be 13th. Stephanie Leslie, 14th. Kai Hansen will be 15th. Nico Simmons will be 16th. Dustin Dawes takes 17th. Carlos Fonseca did not set a time. They'll start 18th. And Remo Yakman will be 19th. We also got 42 cars on the grid if everybody turns up. We're still waiting to see where Antti is, but we know, as Jake was saying, that Javier is in session.
It will be 41 then. Antti Lepisto will not take the start then here at Mosport, and it's going to be a good challenge here from these drivers, who will take one full pace lap behind the iRacing Porsche safety car. and they'll know it's a safety car because it does say safety car on the front of it. That's your cue, of course, along with the lights that will be there, and the lights are off of the safety car, indicating that we will be going green this time around as they get themselves through. Now, you look at some of the undulations. Turn 2 is a one-line suit-stall corner through Clayton's. You head to Quebec, turn 3, and it's another drop down the hill out of there. How important is the one, I would say, slowest point on the track, hitting the brakes up the hill to the double apex corner of Moss, which is so unique as a corner, Craig?
It's unique because it's double apex, but you're basically braking through the first part of it, and you're braking up the hill. And I mentioned it's double apex, but at the same time, you ignore the first apex. If you want a really good line, you ignore the first apex in most cars. Then you run the risk of going a bit too wide and clipping the grass. I was watching one of their races last night. Laus Olsen did that. He went a bit too hard into Moss. So you've got to be careful when you get on this throttle here. You've got so much runoff, you've got to be careful not to use a lot of it. And of course, here is the rundown into Mario Andretti straight away, as they say. This is a very crucial part. Lots of speed, the best place really for overtaking.
And as is tradition, the GTO field leaving room to the GTP field, with Yuko Leskala holding the pace right now in the SimRacing car, moving through and leaving to that. Javier De Olmo in there, Ian Haycox, Reed Miller's going to look for a good run today. But as far as the leaders go, they'll be running themselves down towards turn 8. This final trio of corners as you run through the S's 8 and 9, and then White's corner, turn 10. This is always an incredible place to have some moves. That's the track temperatures out there. 97 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees track. I'd call that slightly warm, but that's pretty ideal as they go. Pace car is going to move down right and dive into the pits. Aitor Sintes Galindo is going to lead them off then here and get them up to full speed. Green flag, we're racing 40 minutes on the clock. Let's get ourselves going then as they run through single file. They go pretty much for the first 10. No real dramas so far. Tobias Röthner trying to fight with Gianluca Gabbiani as they go through. One's going to go spearing straight on into the tyres then, and that's going to be Golovanov in trouble as here come the GTOs.
GTOs, not much has happened so far. They've kept it single file. Hideki Kovivisto making a move up the field, but it's all single file. They start coming down to the start of the track. They'll start hitting turn 2. Look at the gap Leskala has made already. He's already a second up as the cars go. A little touch of the grass by Leskala, keeping it safe. No one looking to make any moves at the moment in the GTOs.
No, Michael Spurn in trouble then in the GTPs. He's been forced into the wall at Moss corner, so his troubles then have alluded to it earlier. A bit of side-by-side then through the middle of the pack as they run down the hill and look to attack back up then into Moss for the first time here in your GTO field. They look pretty good. They look pretty solid. Great bit of side-by-side. Sintes Galindo leads. Olsen second. In third position right now is Hervé Trengarade, and it's Martin Krejcik who is fighting hard in fourth, with Seamus Power trying to fight. Power looking to make it work around the outside. Oh, what a move that is.
How did they not touch? What a move there. They just were. I was looking at that thinking it was going to be a wreck. Seamus with a hell of a move. No way else to describe it there around the outside of Clayton Corner. And he gets going. And for Krejcik, this is where he's going to struggle now. Can he keep on that slipstream? Needs to keep on the slipstream with Seamus because Fabian is right behind. Fabian will get the double toe just. So will Mudrack though. Is there going to be a move here? I reckon Fabian might make a move, getting a lot of speed down here, trying to see what he can do. He's going to set his car up. This is going to be a dive if he decides against it.
Well, he's not going to try and get a move right now, but he's going to have to be patient here because this is how quickly trains can break away, because the train goes all the way back right now. You could argue to Romain Bello in 12th position. You've just got to find one place at a time as you go through, and as they run through the opening corner, they are going to get a little bit of traffic here on the exits. The recovering Ferran Grau, who was off on the opening lap in the GTP field. Looks like Reed Miller has also run into troubles then during this, so his troubles then are going to be no good at all as they fight through a bit of side-by-side as they fight as Steinman goes through. But let's take a GSRC replay then. See exactly what happened here with Ferrangrau through the final corner. And it's just a case of 2 into 1. And you can see there, I believe it's the 21 completely beached there on the tyres on the right-hand side on the pit attenuator. So there were the troubles they go through. This is what happened to Golovanov then on lap 1, and that is just part and parcel of what basically happens at turn 2. You miss the apex on the inside, and you are a passenger from that point onwards.
Yeah, a little bit bumpy on the outside as well. You've got to be careful, and that unfortunately just happened. We're going to see this side-by-side going into Moss. That's never going to work there, unfortunately, for the Silk Cut car. Just going a little bit wide. I think I heard on the radio might have been a little bit of network issues as well for that car, but unfortunately just forcing the driver off. That's unfortunate there. Now we start to see the leaders hit traffic right away. Sintet Galindo, Olsen, Tengerade, all there. And we all know what happens with multi-class racing. Threading the needle, does Olsen go there? He's got the experience to help them a little bit. This is where the ebb and flows will happen. And on a track this small, you're going to see a lot of ebbing and flowing as in front. And a move almost just happened in the GTOs.
Yeah, you can see the concentration here on Laust Olsen's face. He tries to thread a way through because he's got Hervé Trengarade right behind him as they go through. Seamus Power's done really well. Look at that for a camera as they now start to charge over towards turn number 8. Trengarade around the outside of Laust Olsen, giving each other just enough room as they fight through. It's Sweden versus Norway as they fight, and it is the Swede who's going to hold on to place. What a good scrap, and there's trouble as one car in trouble in the wall there. One of the GTOs has found completely the wrong place to be there. I believe it's number 30 who's caught in trouble, which would be Stefan Leslie, who is there in trouble at turn 9.
Yeah, at the S, it looks a very tough place to make a move, and it must have been a mistake there on the original braking. Trengarade's just lost a move there to Power because Power's managed to go around the outside again as somebody with the lap traffic. Look at this. Where do you go? You can see Olsen right now. He's probably got more pucker cam going on right now as he's trying to find some ways. It is literally trying to find a space. Around the outside goes Power on Plumley. Plumley might respond a little bit with that braking. You can start to see how these cars how their brakes just make a change there. The time Ove has lost there compared to Seamus. But look at the gap that Laus is starting to make on the drivers because of that.
Wow. And they're just behind. They're almost 3-4 wide with Joseph Mudrak and Tobias Ruchner all fighting, and Mudrak going heavily around the outside. Mark Ole is going to steal one as well with Fabian Youngblood taking the more traditional route. Mudrak really scrapping with the Hideki Koivisto now, trying to find a way through, and you can't breathe, and there's a car off. Is that the leader in GTO who's off the road at turn 1? That's not going to be ideal at all. I believe it is Juko Leskala, who is the championship leader as well, finds himself in all sorts of troubles, and his car is damaged beyond repair.
I have no idea what happened there. The car just went straight. I think he's got some hardware failure. He just went straight on there with no indication. We may just see it here. Here we go. Let's watch this. No brakes. I just go straight on. And that to me looks unfortunately like hardware failure.
Yeah, that is awful for Juko Leskala. He would have been blind to it. And all of a sudden, the championship takes a dramatic turn overall in GTO. Javier Del Olmo suddenly has a free card here to score as much as he possibly can. And in terms of where he is right now, he's P1 in this race in GTO, so he's got every reason to be excited right now. Andreas Schuster, second in GTO as they have more GTPs go around. Roman Bello and Gianluca Gabbiani making their way through. Next up in terms of running through will be Pablo Suarez trying to get by them. This is what we call rush hour, and we're not even close to Piccadilly Circus.
Anybody got your mirrors? Anybody want more mirrors? You've got to be mirror watching so much here. We all know the joke. You've got to be alert on the street circuit. Look how alert that is. That's another car going off at the S's. I'm not just sure who that is at the moment, but it's in a little bit of a battle right now around. That is the 21, and that's Hamill Smith that's had a little bit of moment there. Now he's got some damage, and Fonseca will probably get around him into turn 1. Does so, like I said, momentum, because he's had to get back on the track. Jamie, unfortunately, losing spots because of that momentum swing. He's in this battle right now with Fonseca. He survives. But I tell you what, when he gets to that straight with all that damage, I don't think he's going to survive for too long.
And one of the keys as well is you can just look everywhere. There is a battle everywhere going on right now, as this is Hervé Trengrade and Seamus Power, the fight for third place overall. One of the keys in terms of dealing with the lap traffic is that you got to know where the GTP is strong compared to the GTO, and otherwise the GTP is so good in a straight line, it's going to breeze by. One thing it doesn't do very well though, Craig, is mechanical grip, and that is where you're going to see at a corner like Moss, the GTPs maybe even speed, if not slightly slower through there than the GTOs.
Yeah, kind of think of it almost just nowadays with the prototypes and the GTs in modern day. It's the same thing. They can't get that grip down. And you do see when you've got a smaller car, a little bit more power, they can get on that throttle earlier without any limitation with the back going. But cars like this, they've got to struggle here. They have to be careful, a little more feathering of the throttle. Don't miss a gear shift, all important here. Do not miss that gear shift, and you can see how much it affects you. That's the number 9 just there we're seeing. That's Lars Olsen just having a little bit of a time. Set the fastest lap last time. Is he going to be able to set a faster lap whenever he can? By the way, update on Javier Sanchez. He's already 12th as he's battling Pablo Suarez right now.
But he is almost 20 seconds off of the race lead, so it's been a lot more pedestrian from Xavier Sanchez, and he knows that in order to improve on his score, he's got to do better than 7th. That's trouble out there for one of the cars. I believe it's 22 potentially that is in trouble, which would be Hideki Koivisto out there at this point in time, because that's Mark Ole who is there. So Koivisto dropping a place. Robert Plumley is going to gain one up. So Koivisto going around then, coming out of Moss. Do keep an eye out on your GTO race lead right now. That is half a second between Del Olmo and Andreas Schuster. And Schuster is really trying to find something. And I tell you who would love a victory. It would be Ian Haycox, especially for Ian after what he's gone through in terms of a motorcycle injury. To get to this point, a race victory would be huge vindication for him.
It would be a perfect cap-off right now to what has been a topsy-turvy season, but he has done so well getting top 5s and podium. Just to have that little extra bonus there of getting a victory this season, regardless where it is, it would just be fantastic. He's still there. He's only a second behind Schuster. He can still do it using the fan controls to help him along the way, and he's just doing so fine. And just look at how he's catching. He was 2 tenths faster than the leader's last lap. As we see Schuster, he will not get a run here because the slipstream here is very chaotic. Look at this, talk about chaotic. Side by side, down here they go in the corner. Is there going to be off there? Oh, he's off. Off they go, and Mort's another one off. More GTPs going off. That looks to me like that's Lars Olsen.
It is Lars Olsen, and he's off then, and that was all on his own. There was no traffic around him. He was under pressure from Seamus Power, and he's made the mistake. So Lars Olsen into the wall, and crucially, he will have damage, but it's not enough to bring the black and orange mechanical flag out for him. He'll fall behind Gianluca Gabbiani, which puts him in 9th position right now. That's how quickly it can change. And they were going through the traffic like Jamie Hamill-Smith and Kai Hansen, who's there, and the scrapping that's going on. They had to get around Nico Simmons as well. So everything's going on. Olsen's going to pit, so he's going to take his pit stop now. This is where it gets really, really aggressive around this track. You have to be so switched on.
Gotta be so switched on. I talked about Lars unfortunately having a mistake at that same corner last night, and it's happened again. And you've got to feel, when is the bad luck going to stop for Lars? He's such a strong driver, and it's just not played out well for him this season. But these guys are battling right now. The number 4, it may look like it's only a battle for P3, but look at it, it's a 3-car battle for P3. Hervé Trengrade, Joseph Mudrak, Fabian Youngblood, they are all there. And if you think you get yourself a break around here from the traffic, think again, because right up the road, there he goes around the outside so aggressively. Does Trengrade there, and around the outside again on Koivisto, and Mudrak has to follow. And this holds up Fabian Youngblood. That is just scary. I don't think I'd be able to have the confidence to pull off a move like that.
Yeah, this is where lap traffic becomes pretty much as fine as breathing at this point. Everyone's going to have to try and figure out a way to get around and figure where is the right place to be. Wrong place for Fabian Youngbluth. Robert Plumley just taking the natural racing line and effectively stymieing Fabian, and Fabian has just not been a favourite with the traffic. He's been on the wrong side of it time after time after time, and they have to be so careful about the way that they go through and try and tiptoe their way around. And it is a legitimate tiptoe as they go through. They'll be passing the battle on for first, second and third in GTO right now as Trengarade will go through and Mudrak will go through. Joseph Mudrak, by the way, he's having a really, really good race. He's just being aggressive with the traffic, and he's finding out here, Craig, where is the right place to go as he'll look down the inside of the GTO leader.
So much confidence on this car right now with this downforce, and he's also got the help that Trengarade's right in front of him and is able to use that, because wherever Ove goes, he has to follow because it opens up. And we've also now got Simonson has just towed. Wow, what is going on here? It's just, where do you look? Where do you look right now? It's just absolutely chaos. As Mudrak and Trengarade now, it turns into a two-car battle here in the lead, in the battle for second, third and fourth, sorry, in the GTP. For the GTOs, though, it is still very tight. You're seeing this battle on the field. That's Andreas Schuster and Ian Haycox. Schuster has lost his position there to Olmo.
Got a bit of side-by-side as well, a little bit further back as they run up through turn one now, searching towards Clayton's corner of turn two. Jamie Hamill-Smith trying to come up and under Nico Simmons for position, but Hamill-Smith can't quite manage that one. So he'll have to stay patient as they go through Quebec corner and figure it out, as it's again going to be a case of just the waiting game. It does make life so very difficult when you can't quite find a way through. They'll have a bit of GTP trying to come through on that inside. That is going to be a Spurn who makes his way through, and again, they're just going to have to be patient. This is where the damage is going to hurt Jamie Hamill-Smith in terms of the way he tries to pick up a move. The battle for 8th and 9th overall. Do want to keep in mind that Xavier Sanchez has just made a pass through on Roman Bello. He's moved up now into 9th position, and he's got about 4 seconds to chase down Gianluca Gabbiani, and he's just taking this one car at a time. Would you say as well here, Craig, in this situation, that one car at a time is the only way you can approach this race with 25 minutes to go?
Well, it wasn't just one car at a time there. It was actually 2 cars at a time, because while Javier was trying to get by, they had to get around the 2 cars of Ian Haycox and Andreas Schuster, as Ian Haycox made a move around the outside at turn 8. While those 2 side by side, Javier Sanchez was there behind him with Romain Bello, and that's how he took the opportunity. Sometimes you've got to take it one at a time for the overtake, but when the traffic just falls in your favor, you've got to take it. That move on Ian Haycox, so around the outside of turn 8, I was watching that glued because Javier was coming up. What a move that was.
It was a great move, and Ian Haycox knew that he had to do well to keep that in play, because Javier Del Olmo now is out to 2 seconds and is just dictating pace fantastically. Haycox has got to stay with and not compromise in terms of the way he's driving. Jason Clapper just going through them there. Cam Porter as well out there driving. You just got to stay calm in a situation like this, because the traffic, the way it works, it could very easily come back to you, and it's the responsibility of the GTPs to pass the GTOs, not like, for example, Formula 1, where it'd be the responsibility of the GTOs to get out of the way of the GTPs.
Yep, you've got to make sure that you're in a safe position, keep it clean, hold your line, and let them go around you safely, just like Kai Hansen's just done. He's just gone around the outside of Nico Simmons in the middle of turn 9. A lot of outside overtaking. As I say that, I've just put the commentator's curse, and he's lost it there on the gravel on the last corner at White's corner. You've got to be predictable when you're around here, and you'll start to see when they come down here to Clayton, look at where the GTOs will take their lines compared to the GTPs. Almost in, you'd say almost in the center, as on the grass though goes Hansen, and he's gone.
Yeah, he was thinking about it. Into the tyres he goes. He'll do a full 360, almost 270 there on that, and that's a shame, because he was being pressured by the upcoming Seamus Power, and that's how quickly he can chase that down. Now he's got to start thinking about what's going on here in this race. And I tell you what, Seamus Power, as his eyes are fixed on Aitor Sindes Galindo just in front, he's taken 2 seconds in the last 2 laps.
Traffic ebbs and flows, but when you get a time like 1.7 flat that Aitor just had, you know it's not been a good time for lap traffic. Seamus lost lap 1:05.5. So he is starting to make the catch here on the number 5. Has now, unfortunately though, it's going to fall in Sintes Galindo's favour because Seamus gets held up by lap traffic. And more lap traffic here for Seamus, as that's a lap car, that's the 39 of Tim Phillips. And all of a sudden, this lap traffic, we went from talking at the start of this from him catching Aitor, he's now defending for 3rd and 4th. Who's that in the wall? That's not where you want to be.
No, it's not where you want to be at all. I think that might be Spurn again, and it is the California kid in trouble once more, and that is not nice going through there. And there goes the 13 around, and that is Troubles is already down in this race and will be, and then some at this point in time, trying to get that one back up and going again. So more Troubles out there. Not quite sure who that was, but turn 1, not ideal. Damage to the rear wing as well. And that is going to be Tobias Ruchner out of 7th position then, and way back. Pablo Suarez now will go through. That's another one for Xavier Sanchez, and survival is of the fittest right now.
It is all about survival here. You mentioned at the start of the broadcast, tight barriers, not a lot of runoff, old school track. You're starting to see the challenge. And even then, when you think about how bumpy it is on this track, it is still proving hard for these drivers. I mean, you know the old joke, you've got to be alert on a street circuit. There you go. There's the number 28. Can we just call this a glorified street circuit right here? As cars are just losing control. You're having to just watch out. You're having to make sure you're going around the lap cars. This is very tough right now, and it is survival of the fittest, as you stated.
Yeah, that's Jason Clapper who went around 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Still fighting out though here in GTP. Seamus Power, Hervé Trengerade the Norwegian, Joseph Mudrak who is up there in the championship fight, searching for places. He would love 2nd place right now with Aitor Sintes Galindo, who, get this, comes in 2nd in the championship, Craig, but hasn't had a race win all season. He's had 5 podium finishes without a win.
Consistency. We talk about Aitor every time we get here. He's had 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s in 7 races. That just shows how consistent he has been this season. And now he's finally got the time to prove what he's worth. It'd be fantastic if Aitor could finally get that win this season. And with Seamus catching, I think, though, it's not going to be enough for Seamus. With 20 minutes left, we're halfway through the race.
We are halfway, which means that we'll have 20 minutes more to try and figure out who is going to win this race, who is going to start getting ever closer in the championship. And it's a championship with a very, very tight and narrow run-in, where you consider the last 2 rounds of the season, Craig, are Sonoma and Long Beach.
Oh, but Sonoma's a fantastic track, and Long Beach is going to be the ultimate challenge. But the challenge is here right now, as you see. There is the number 7 of Youngblood. He's trying to make moves. He's lost some time, though, because look at the traffic he's having to get around. And now you're in the stage that it's not just the GTO traffic these GTPs are having to get around. It's the GTP lap traffic. Now that is also a challenge, because they're trying to get out the way as safe as they can, and it's just not working. Youngblood has lost a position, though. Martin Krajcik has managed to overtake him. I believe a spin happened there for Fabian.
Yep, so Fabian Youngblood very quickly dropping back then into 6th position. And it wasn't necessarily so much of a spin as it was a hairy, scary moment, because there were cars stopped here, there and everywhere at turn 2. Ferran Grau had absolutely thrown it in the wall after a bit of contact as he went through with the GTP of Michael Spurn. So 2 cars that have been in all sorts of trouble today find themselves even more, and it's at turn 2. Look how quickly this goes wrong here. Down the inside, bang, there's the hit, that's the trouble, and this is going to be Youngblood who somehow keeps the car going from there. That might just be save of the year.
How? You're down here with your full speed, you can't get on the brakes, and he's managed to keep that car not just out of the wall, but well away from the wall. No, I can't. This is blip. Whoa!
It's blind as well. That makes it even better.
You don't know where the car is. That's just amazing.
Just amazing run. Just some amazing car control, and I'm out of words. It's not often I do that. I'm out of words. That's just a world-class save. And you can't really do much better than that. So positions changing all the time here in this race. But at least for the moment, Youngbluth still has himself a car at this point in time, still has himself a race in 6th position at this moment, and knowing that this is far from over in terms of what is sortable at this point in time. Running through then up towards the final couple of corners, get a little bit on the grass there. That's certainly not going to help things out for Cam Porter as he tries to chase down Jason Clapper. This is scrapped for 11th position right now, and there is Cam driving it through the opening corner, just having to be patient there with Hideki Koivisto in the B Green 22, makes his way around, but he has lost himself about a second and a half. And it is the one thing I keep seeing from these drivers as we look through is that none of them are breathing. And why would they be? Because it is so narrow, it is so congested.
I also just love how nonchalantly he is changing gears right here. He's just having fun. He had a little bit of hesitation there, not knowing where the GTO was going to go. Was he going to track out to the exit apex? Was he going to hug the corner? So Cam having to play it safe there. And I think at the moment, especially where he is, he's made up 8 places so far this race. That's not a bad thing to do, to play it safe here. Gets a little bit of a breather as he goes down the straight. He's not got another GTO for 5 seconds, and it's Andreas Schuster up ahead of the road, just like the other two battling in front with Pablo Suarez and Jason Clapper. He might get back in that battle very shortly.
He might do, and it might tell in terms of how they go through. And it's just that little bit of splitting up. How can you join back up together again? Patience needed from Clapper, who waits for the application of power to break through as they run now out of turn 1. Now here into turn 2 of Clayton's, trying to go around the outside of the pair of them will be Cam Porter, and he manages that. But these two right now know that their race is slowly falling away. There's not much they can do when Javier Del Olmo is just quietly gaining that time, and they're just running their own race at this point in time. But I tell you what, there have been some quiet drives in this field, and the quietest of them all has been number 16, Robert Plumley, in 4th position in GTO. He's done a really good bit of driving as the world of Kinducci.
We haven't talked about him. He's only made 4 places up, but 4 crucial places to get in the top 10. Been doing very well, and he's been also competitive with his times, matching the drivers in front. Unfortunately, with the way the cookie has crumbled where he started, he's been unable to keep up with the leaders, with Del Olmo and Haycox and Schuster. He's 10 seconds behind the leaders. This may be where he finishes. We may have started to see where most of these drivers are going to finish, providing they don't crash out. But it is still a result here and a drive you have to take notice, as Plumley is getting a very convincing top 5 at the moment. Knock on wood, because behind, Kobe Visto and Ollie are battling for P5.
Yeah, Marc Ollet is looking for this one. Number 27, currently from Club Iberia. They'll have Spurn trying to make their way around, and Koivisto leaving all of the room just behind that. Seamus Power and the group now starting to funnel through. They're all just trying to find as much space as they possibly can. Little push around the outside. Joseph Mudrack has to be aggressive, and he just gets the door shut on him a little bit. That will cause him to lose that 1 second range of draft to go forward. So there's not much you can do, but they both have the right to fight. They both have the right to fight for the positions that they have in this race, and that's what makes this series so crazy and so brilliant.
It makes it crazy, but it makes it fair with multi-class racing. It's not about your race. It's about your race. So don't worry about, everybody else's race as well. You've got to work together here. I always say racing is like dancing. It takes 2 to tango, and this is especially the case when it comes to multi-class racing. You've got to keep it safe, and you've got to work together, and that's what's happened with a couple of these moments here. That is a spinner. That's a lot of damage. Who is that? That's a toe as well.
Pablo Suarez.
Oh, it's Suarez again. We just see more people.
More people in trouble, and there goes the 7 sliding around Martin Krajcik. Krajcik's going to fight this one back at turn 9, and this is allowing Javier Sanchez suddenly into this, and if Sanchez can get 1 position here in terms of this battle, he'll be moving up and he'll be scoring some more points. Pablo Suarez's day is over, out then from 11th position, but this, in terms of what you need from a race like this, Javier Sanchez, who started right at the back, having not set a time in qualifying, he could come away with a top 5 finish here today, and that would be massive. He knows he can't really improve much more from this, because this entire group is 16 seconds back of Joseph Mudrack.
I think they realized, there's a car going off. What? No! I think that was Ole just losing control of the car. It was, and he's taken out Youngblood.
Fabian Youngblood, a passenger. Ole had lost it initially coming down the hill, and then in the grass trying to slow it up. It is so difficult, and Youngblood couldn't quite do much. Ole apologises on the radio for it, but that for Mark Ole will be a case of he'll be looking a little bit sheepishly when he gets back to the virtual paddock.
I don't think he'll be happy, unfortunately. I don't think there was much Ole could do there once he lost control and just clipped the grass. That was it. The question was, who was he going to take out? I think not that he was intending to, but that car was going to be a missile the moment he hit the grass, and that is so unfortunate for everyone involved, especially for this race because it backed Sanchez up. He lost the slipstream on Krajcik, and he's having to get back to it now. We're just going to see this replay as we go down the hill. Watch it. He's lost it there. He's trying to save it. Then he touches the grass, and he's a missile straight away, unfortunately.
It is an Audi Quattro. It does have rally pedigree in terms of the way it goes through, but I don't think it had the gravel tyres on to try and help slow that down. So not much you could do if you were Marc Ole. Couldn't put his best Danny Sordo forward and save that one outright. So it unfortunately meant contact, and that's a shame. Battle still on for second position overall. Seamus Power and Hervé Trengaret working here in this race to try and get themselves forward. They've got a bit of clean air right now, and I tell you what, there has been a lot of dramas in this race right now. We started with 41 out there on track. We're down to what I believe is just 29, 28 runners here in this race. It is very quickly falling apart in terms of how many drivers here, and that makes life so much easier for traffic because 42 minus 27, you've just taken a third of the field out of the race. That makes a lot of difference.
Oh, you're taking a third of the field out of the race, and while that was happening as well, Javier Sanchez got past Krajcik because Krajcik had to try and go around P2 and P3 as in Haycox and Andreas Schuster on the Mario Andretti straight and clipped the grass. Lost all the speed. Javier Sanchez took that over, and unfortunately he's been unable to catch back up thanks to traffic just like this right now. This is a real good ebb and flow, and once again, Trengaret takes the lines that Power gives him. Wherever Seamus goes around a GTO, that is where Ove is going at the same time. So they have to keep following here. They have to trust each other. There will be Fabian coming out of the pit, but luckily he does let them by. And here's the other battle right now. I think we're now, with 10 minutes left, we've got an idea of where our battles are.
We certainly do have an idea, and it has been a really, really cool battle out there. Joseph Mudrak trying to keep chase, and the fight on for second in GTO because Andreas Schuster tried to go around the outside, falls back into the line, allowing Gianluca Gabbiani to find a way through. Now, if Gabbiani's gone through the right way, Schuster's got a really good chance, not through one, but through turn two, to try and make a move down the hill at turn one. This sweeping right hand, 162 kilometers an hour through here, trying to put the power back on and dive once again up and over the crest through Clayton's corner. And Schuster still not close enough here to make this one happen on Ian Haycox, who is resolute in defense so far.
Trying to hold on here, trying to hold on to fight the understeer. Andreas trying to get a better line there by braking a little bit earlier. The slow in fast out did not work. Lost a little bit of time there with Jason Clapper and Roman Balo in their little battle going around. Now, can he get a good run here at Moss? They both clipped the first curve. A nice finish there from Andreas. I think he may have a run here. Does he have the speed difference as we're going? It's a little bit even. That works in favor for Andreas. He is now up. He will have to try and make a move around the outside if he wants to use slipstream with a GTO. He may have a chance here.
He may have a chance. He's going to have to do it the long way around, and Ian Haycox just shepherding that inside line is going to cover off that move. So he does more than enough to make sure that this is his race to try and win, his race to try and manufacture. Very deep through the final corners, going to get out wide, lose a car length and a half there going through that section of road. But it's about patience. You've still got 8 minutes. You can still find an overtake out there. Speaking of which, Power's really having to defend here because Trengaret was almost the way through but didn't quite manage it. So it is, as you look, everywhere you look, it is going to be Battle City as they enter the last 8 minutes.
The lap traffic not working for Ove as Power manages to get around Tranger as he gets pinched by a GTO. And that is unfortunate there, as that car still affecting the battles as they now come up to another car here, and that is Hideki Kobe-Visto. They come around down into the corners, into fourth, braking hard for Moss corner. Again, who gets the better launch here? And that gives you a really good indication of where we're going to see moves. Did Tranger get a good run here? I don't think he got the run he wanted, but he's now starting to catch up. Will he make a move? Coming down the Mario Andretti, he pulls over to one side. Power's going to have to try and make this around the outside, but I think the speed difference is too much.
It is. I tell you what, Trengerade was smooth like butter in terms of the way he got out of Moss corner. I loved the way he drove that, and that gave him all the momentum on the back stretch, the Mario Andretti straightaway, to make sure he would move up into second position. And now the focus is very clear. Run away. Can you find a gap to run away into? And he has been managing that fantastically, and he'll be driving after what was Lotus 49s that didn't go his way over Trengerade. He loves the classics, and he'll be trying to just drive with what he's got around the outside of Haycox. Oh, and Power gets blocked there on the inside, nowhere to go. Was trying to be cheeky and thread away down the inside, take the path of least resistance, but he found himself at the choke point as he runs through, and suddenly it looks like there is a gap of about 0.7 of a second now as they hit the straight.
That bookmarking move there by Trengerade, putting that GTO between the two of them, that worked out so well for him, and now he's got that advantage. Power's going to claw it back a little bit with this slipstream, but it's not enough for him. Hopefully this is what Trengerade needs to hold on to the P2, and hopefully Power does not get going. One more GTO around with 6 minutes to go. We're still looking at about another 5 laps, maybe 6 laps with the way Sintez Galindo is going.
Yeah, Aitor Sintez Galindo, we haven't really talked much about him since the opening forays where he was able to break away, but he is flying. Battle still on. Ian Haycock still looking behind in the mirrors. Andreas Schuster has looked left, he's looked right, he's looked up, he's looked down. He's taken Willy Wonka's great glass elevator. He's tried to find the move slantways. He hasn't found a way to try and get through. He now needs to work out what is the one way I can make this pass, move up into second position, and find myself so comfortable with that and leave it as late can dare. He might just try now, you know, because Ian Haycox looked like he harvested the shift. Contact, and Ian Haycox goes scrabbling across the grass, and he will lose the place to Andreas Schuster.
But he holds on, a fantastic hold there, a little bit of damage to the door. What a hold. I think it was just Andreas, just a little bit of understeer there. Car washing up out of the apex, and unfortunately that was not what Andreas wanted. Ian gave him the room, Andreas had the room and gave him the space, and the car just washed up. Will there be any more battles between these two? Anything can still happen in the next 4.5 minutes, and you start to see with lap car going by, Andreas having to take a different line. We may get round 2 here. I think Ian may have a chance here again, and going wide again as Andreas. We may get that, but we've got to look at elsewhere with more battles as the GTPs are still going.
Oh, I tell you what, Hervé Trengerade has lost a lot of time because he very nearly got caught up in someone else's accident out there on track. He had to absolutely get on the binders with Nico Simmons, and Simmons got turned for his troubles, but crucially Trengerade kept the car going. That's why he's dropped so much time this lap to Seamus Power, and why Power has found himself a way through up into second position now. So Trengerade finds himself back by a couple seconds. That pretty much will decide 1, 2 and 3 barring any more traffic.
Well, we thought that as well when it came to the GTOs, but look how close Robert Plumley has now gotten in the GTOs. We still continue with this battle. It is starting to change, and Robert Plumley is now 3 seconds behind Ian Haycox. And Ian Haycox now has a little bit of slipstream capability onto Andreas Schuster. This is not finished, far off yet.
And there's one of the GTPs coming out of turn 1. Finding some trouble there, and that's Cam Porter, who had just been put a lap down in 10th position, just going straight on. Was there contact? There might have actually been contact with Seamus Power in towards turn 1. So Seamus now finding himself to the inside. The two came together, and that's why Cam Porter found himself off the road. As easy as that in terms of a race like this, and the clock is absolutely ticking down. They just clicked now over 3 minutes, or under 3 minutes to go now in this race, and it becomes a case of just breathe at this point in time. This is by no means an easy one, and the racing, I tell you what, does continue out there because Gianluca Gabbiani here has got behind him Jason Clapper. This is the fight for 7th and 8th on the road.
Any battle for points in the championship, important battle for points. And Clapper taking a very different line here. And Gianluca just having a little bit of networking issues, but does he get the better line there? I think Clapper got a better run there. And you can see Clapper's going to use all the slipstream. Pulls behind Ian Haycock. Pulls out right behind Gianluca. Look at this speed difference. So much speed, but he's going to have to do it around the outside. Does he get this stuck? Does he? By heck, he does. Brilliant move there by Jason Clapper.
Jason Clapper, take your hands and, well, clap them. Why not? That was a great move, but he's got to hold on to it with Gianluca Gabbiani. Haycox, by the way, used them as a pick to get back by Andreas Schuster. So he moves back up into 2nd position with just 2 minutes and under left in this race. It is by far and away been a fantastic ride and a fantastic run so far. But Aitor Sintes Galindo's just crossed the line. We are guaranteed 2 laps to go here at Mosport.
2 more laps. Can they hold on? This is also now a test of mental strength with how you've got to keep yourself alert. Probably people would have been hoping there'd be only 1 more lap. Nope, there's 2 more laps. They've got to keep it safe here. Only a few cars for Aitor to go by, but importantly, the battle for 2nd and 3rd is where he has to go by. Because Ian Haycox and Andreas Schuster still battling on, and Aitor will get by them next time by. And you start to see it's getting so close. Look at that camera and look at the elevation change. You don't realize it until you're sitting there.
No, you really don't, and it just shows you how much they have to work as they crest up and around and go through. And once more, Andreas Schuster going to the outside, once more to the well. I'll have the inside here at 9, but that outside line can work well if you have the grip. It is there, but they'll continue it now through this left-hander, and Ian Haycox will hold onto position. Last lap of the race will start for Aitor Sintes Galindo, and he will know that he has driven a wonderful race out there from the front, but Haycox now has to really defend.
Has to defend, and he was hoping that he'd be able to use a little bit more time there, a little bit more of the slipstream to help him. Did not work. Trangrade, as you see, goes fastest on the penultimate lap. He's still battling Seamus Power, but these two continue to battle. They've got a couple more important corners to go. Is there going to be another mistake here? Right behind him is that battle with Seamus Power and Ove Trangarade. We're going to see 2 by 2 here. Yeah. Hold on to your horses.
Hold on indeed. So Seamus Power's got the gap though, and that's crucial and has given him the room. Trengare can't do anything about it. He'll have to settle for P3 overall. Your leaders 1 and 2, Sintes Galindo and Javier Del Olmo. They head themselves both through turn 8, now in towards turn 9, and then finally White's corner, turn 10. Today's the day to be a driver from Iberia. Aitor Sintes Galindo will take GTP. In GTO, it will be Javier Del Olmo. Power will take 2nd in GTP, Trengare 3rd, and Andreas Schuster could not reach it at the end. He'll try and drive it for the line, but the line will come a little bit too soon, and ultimately it will be Haycox ahead of Andreas Schuster. What brilliant racing here today from Mosport.
Absolutely brilliant. What a race there. I mean, I'm lost for words. That's such a chaotic race, and you still see battles here. That there is just a fantastic drive for Javier Sanchez to get the P5 from the back of the field as well. Hats off to Jason Clapper as well. Right at the end, he takes P7. He makes up 12 places. A brilliant drive by those guys. It has been madness in the best way possible. These drivers, take their hats off to them. This has been a tough challenge.
It's been a race of patience, and you've had to have that patience in terms of bringing everything together and bringing a wonderful race. We're going to step aside for one moment, though, here with the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back with post-race coverage after this.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect. How's it going, Sally?
Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they got into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Chance to breathe yet, ladies and gentlemen? We certainly needed it. That was an incredible race where everyone had to keep their eyes pointed here, there, and everywhere. But today was a day for the Iberian drivers, those in Spain, those in Portugal. They had wonderful results here today. Aitor Sintez Galindo, ASG, with his first race win of the season, makes it, get this, 9 different race winners from the first 10 races of this championship. His winning margin is 6 seconds at the front over Seamus Power, with Hervé Trengare taking 3rd position overall, having to admit defeat late on. Joseph Mudrack had a really strong drive. He finished off in 4th, with Xavier Sanchez finishing off in 5th, crucially gaining points in his championship, finishing better than 6th position, which was held by Martin Krejcik, who kept him honest towards the end of the race. Jason Clapper had a spin in this one, but still managed to finish 7th, a gain of 12 spots today, with Gianluca Gabbiani in 8th place, exactly where he started. Romain Bello would start 9th, and Cam Porter would be 1 lap down overall. In 11th position then, in category would be Laust Olsen, as he went through with Robert Obrota in 12th position. 2 laps down would be Fabian Youngbluth and Tim Phillips, and then the drivers who were multiple laps down included Michael Spurn and Christian Adabas, and then the retirees include the likes of Pablo Suarez, Brendan Lim, Tobias Rona in trouble, as well as Daniel Steeman in that race. And then over the page, Kurt Clapper, George Golovanov, and Antti Lepisto not taking to the start. Craig, you had a look at GTOs.
What a battle it was in the GTOs. Javier de Olmo get a very important win in the championship, and he manages to outclass Ian Haycox, who comes home in P2 in a fantastic battle between Ian and Andreas Schuster in 3rd. Robert Plumley makes a fantastic drive, quiet drive, into 4th place, and Hideki Kobe-Visto takes 5th. Marco Uli will be 6th, and Jamie Hamill-Smith recovers to 7th. Mika Tupola will be 8th, and Carlos Fonseca 9th. Dustin Dawes finishes a lap behind all of these drivers in 10th, and then Nico Simmons will be on the next page in 11th. Kai Hansen will finish 12th, and Stephanie Leslie will be 13th, 6 laps behind. And then we come to the retirees with Remo Yakman in 14th. Fernand Grau will be 15th. Doug Cloud 16th. Jeko Leskala, championship leader. Still not sure what happened there. We think it's hardware failure. We'll have to check. He finishes 17th. Reed Miller 18th. Andreas Schumacher will be 19th, and the last of the drivers in the GTOs.
Yep, so dramas there befalling forward to Yuko Leskala, and that is big considering the back end of this season. We are going to get a chance, though, to jump in with drivers, and why not your overall race winner, Aitor Sintez Galindo, who joins us right now. Aitor, this has been a really long time coming in terms of this season. You've been on the podium and on the podium and on the podium, but today in a crazy race, no qualifying time from the championship leader. Was that a case for you of a free kick to say, okay, get to the front, build a gap, try and work through what is some very tough traffic today and try and win this race?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, several podiums, and I was short of win like a corner away from victory at Sebring. So yeah, that still stings, but still, yeah. I saw the opportunity and it was like, get Aitor, you need to do it right now. And I don't know how, but everything went right today. So yeah, extremely happy for this win. I needed this so badly because all this season there's been like 8 winners, 8 different winners this season. One of them wasn't me until now. So yeah, very happy for this win.
Well, a very happy win, but just talk through how crucial it was to make that break to the likes of Seamus behind you and Hervé behind you and Laus was behind you at one point, because it looked like you were having to wait for that traffic to turn up, and then essentially it just became a case of where can you find space on a very difficult track. It's difficult at the best of times to drive here without having to try and pass a million cars around here, but today it just looked like you had the handle on it, being the first one through the train to break through the wall.
Yeah, I mean, today I was with the mindset that I needed to be aggressive with the passing, because I've been too conservative lately, even though that Audi will appreciate that. Today it was like I wanted this win at any cost. So yeah, I had to be aggressive with the traffic today, but still it went lucky in some regard, because many of the Audis were very, let's say, compliant with with my passing, and also having no troubles, because all this season there have been lots of cars going around me or something like that. Today wasn't the case. So yeah, today has been the luck I needed this season. Probably it's too little too late for the championship, but still we're gonna fight hard and fight for everything.
Absolutely. It's Sonoma next week, so a very technical circuit like Mosport, very difficult track. How do you see this in terms of the way you approach it from this week to next week? Do you feel like it's going to be very similar in terms of how you're going to go about your practice this week?
Good question. Sonoma is very is much longer, so there shouldn't be as much traffic as this week. But yeah, it's quite narrow. Some places it might be cause some trouble for the traffic. Probably will be some concern for somebody, but still, I think your priority as always just should be to keep your nose clean and get a good get away from the traffic, and that should guarantee you a good position. So that should be everyone's priority. It will be my priority for next week. Well, it's been always my priority to finish as best as possible, and fortunately it's been on the top step of the podium. But yeah, so yeah, let's say practice a lot for next week, and yeah, try not to cause some trouble, keep your nose clean and everything. So yeah, you will have fun in Sonoma.
Yeah, we absolutely will. I'm sure you will as well. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you, buddy?
Well, my teammates at Push Out Racing, my Camel community, my friends, my family and friends are watching this, and also you guys at GSRC for the broadcast as usual. Amazing stuff every week. I watch everything. So yeah. Thanks, guys. Well, today I'm gonna sleep peacefully, and yeah, see you again next week at Sonoma.
Well, Aitor has certainly got exactly what he wants, a victory overall, and well, who can blame you? Cam Porter's down there at number 25, finished 10th overall in GTP, is stood by with Craig King.
Yeah, I'm with Cam, and Cam, unfortunately, it was looking like a good race for you, and unfortunately then around lap, where was it? It was about near the end of the race. It just fell apart there, unfortunately, with a moment in T1. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, I was carrying damage, but not from hitting anything. On lap 8, I think I hit the curb at the end of the Andretti, just going into turn 7, and that damaged the right front of my car. So I was down on pace for the rest of the race, unfortunately. So I was really happy to be in 10th, and then I felt like I backed out of the throttle and went wide to let Seamus through, but it seemed like he, I don't know, he just got target fixation or something and just drove straight into the back of me. I thought I was letting him take the inside there, but that was obviously a miscommunication. So no hard feelings. We'll come back next week and hopefully get a better, have a better race.
Yeah. I mean, talk us through going around traffic. I know you were the traffic at that stage going around, but of course you were the faster car. You had to go around the traffic. We saw a moment you had a little bit of hesitation at turn 1 early in the race. Talk us through what it's like going around traffic here, because those changes in the hills and also with the lines, it is tough out there, isn't it?
It sure is. I was just trying to race my own race today and be as careful as possible lapping GTOs. I was always, if I had any doubt, I would back out. So, yeah, I was always really patient trying to pass. I wasn't trying to make any dive bomb moves or anything like that, although I think I made one, so apologies to whoever that was I made the impatient pass on. But yeah, my goal is always to be as safe as possible and just not embarrass myself or take anyone else out.
No, I wouldn't say even embarrass yourself. Don't worry about it. We know that you haven't been here most of the weeks. It's your 6th week out of the 10, though. So you are still getting in. You are getting into the groove. You know, you're still there in the championship. You may be in a shout in the top 10. How has it been so far? We're almost near the end of the season. How has it been this season for you?
I had my ups and downs. I've done okay. I've had bad races, obviously. I missed the first quarter of the season because of travel. I was away for about a month, so I was kind of disappointed I wasn't able to participate in the full season, but I'll be back next season for sure, and hopefully we can get a full season in.
Well, we hope we get a full season. It's always nice seeing you driving. It's always nice seeing you on the cameras as well. And I love that we can actually see you shift your gears. It's fantastic. Do you have any shout outs before we let you go for the day?
Yeah, I want to wish my wonderful wife Lori a happy wedding anniversary today. So I gotta take off here and go get ready for a date, I think.
Well, Cam, congratulations on the race. Well, it's a fortunate ending there, but we wish you the best on what sounds to be a fantastic night. Congratulations on the wedding anniversary, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Well, there's Cam Porter proving to everyone that a happy wife does, in fact, equal a happy life out there. Laust Olsen, though, joining us, 11th position overall. Laust qualifying went really well, 2nd position overall, but ultimately it's Moss Corner where it went wrong. Was it just a case of zigging when you should have zagged?
It's a question of that corner doesn't like me. I think it's the 3rd race this week. All 3 races this week I've been off there one time. So for some reason I always get it wrong at least one time each race. So getting a bit tired of it, but it's only myself I can blame. So yeah, I need to improve that.
Well, it's always a struggle, but at least in the early stage, it looked like you found yourself in a really nice position. The pace is certainly there. And in terms of where you are coming into the championship, you came into this one 5th. Most likely you're still going to walk away 5th in the championship out of this. So not really too much damage lost there. But is it maybe a bit frustrating that, you know, the 2nd position was only 18 points in front of you coming into today and the points are just not going your way?
I must admit I'm not really looking at the championship anymore. I've had so many bad races this season. Yeah, I must admit I stopped looking. I didn't think I had a shot at anything. So, and as long as I keep up making these silly mistakes, there's no reason to dream about anything in the championship. So I need to focus on improving my consistency and stop making those silly mistakes.
Well, the chance then to improve will surely be Sonoma next week, and a track that is very undulating like this one here at Mosport, a track where it is going to be difficult to find space once again. Do you really take this as a learning curve that this track here today at Mosport is just as difficult of what it's going to be, not just this next week coming at Sonoma, but the week after that at Long Beach?
Yeah, I think Sonoma is it's quite a technical track, so it's I don't think it's going to be easy to get on pace there, and then I think traffic will be just as difficult as this week. So that's certainly going to be a challenge. I think Long Beach, if one managed to stay out of the walls, I think it's quite okay traffic-wise. But of course, you have the walls, so yeah, that's another challenge.
It's another challenge indeed. Lars Olsen there joining us, 11th position overall today, and we'll be looking for better fortunes next time out at Sonoma. But that, in terms of what we're bringing forward today, is going to bring the curtain down on today's broadcast. A massive thanks has to go to all of you who have been watching at home, as well as all of the companies and people up on screen. Big shout out to Juna London. Her music, you can catch it on Bandcamp, and give her a little bit more money to say just how amazing her music has been on stuff today. If you haven't had the chance to already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and on top of that, you can check out our socials at Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and as well, go to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, and at gsrc.storenvy.com if you want some GSRC merchandise out there. There is going to be some wonderful racing coming up in the not too distant future, including next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place at Sonoma. Make sure that you check that out here with us, and all the other broadcasts are up on your screen right now, so mark them down in your calendar if you haven't already. Aitor Sintes Galindo now takes one step closer towards Xavier Sanchez, who did just enough today to improve that score further and keep his arm outstretched in what is an important championship fight. For Yuko Laskala, that is a hammer blow, and Javier Del Olmo took full advantage at the all-important time. And I tell you what, Sonoma might just be an incredible cathedral to have a battle in next time out. Until that next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.